screen very soon. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. So, um, it looks like we'll be scrolling up to look at the question. Then we'll now go down there to solve it. Um, okay. So please remember, I just opened the file that I sent to you from last class, but these ones are not in any way connected to the ones I just posted. So just thought to um, um say, say that so that we would not make any mistakes. Okay, so let's start with number one. So I'm going to be checking with you to know if you can solve some of them already. If you have an idea of what you should do with them. Okay, so let me put this guy here. All right, so take a look at number one. Some of them look simple, but it's interpreting it that is the real, you know, um, is the real gist of the question. Okay, so what do you think about number one? The
Mm.
sum of two numbers is 25. One of the numbers exceeds the other by 9. Find the numbers. What do you think how do you think that one will play out?
So I was thinking, since it's two numbers, should it be like 2x? Or
Hmm, 2x. Hmm. Why did you say 2x?
because they said sum of two numbers. I don't.
Say the two numbers are the same. I would have agreed with your 2x, but that's if they had said the numbers are the same. But now they said one of the numbers exceeds the other by 9. Okay, so that now makes you to challenge that um thought. So what do you think now that you've seen second condition? You said one exceeds the other by 9. So what do you think we're gonna do there?
So okay, x. Mm,
Okay. So one
mm,
of them X and then the second one will be what?
x.
No, the first one is X. The second
Yes.
one will be what? It
9.
exceeds the other. Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you say X plus 9?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Then you will be right. If you said X plus 9, you will be very, very correct. Okay, so let me write what's today's date? 21st. Let me write today's date to differentiate. I don't usually mix up two classes, but because this one I thought we still had space on this file, so I could reuse it, you know, as had a lot of real estate as in terms of space. Okay, so let me just write today's date here as showing where we altered. Okay, so let's go to number one. So if I go with your final answer, um, the first one is x, the second one is x plus 9, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if I do that, this is what I will have. Let's put them side by side first. Then we'll go back to the question and see what the question says about them. The question says that okay, let's go back to the first sentence in the question. The first sentence in that question said the sum of the two numbers is what? 25. So I think we can interpret that as what? X plus 9, isn't it? Equals 25, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is our equation that we're looking for. Okay. So now some people will put brackets to separate them, but me, I don't see the need for any bracket. We already know that one is x and the second one is x plus 9. So the plus in between that tells us the sum is no different than the plus that is making up the other number. It's still the same plus. Okay. The only thing now is that we're forming what they call an algebraic sentence that you know it's the sum of the two numbers is 25. Okay, so this is a full sentence in algebra, if you like. So now our job, they said, is to find the two numbers. So let's first find x, and I'm sure when we find x, we'll find the number. So what should I do from here?
Hmm. Should we use x to multiply x?
We don't, they didn't say product.
Okay,
Okay,
so x
yes, it's
plus x,
plus x. Okay, so x plus x will give us what? 2x,
2x.
right? So
Yeah.
that technically is us. We've already started collecting license. So what next do we do from here? We now have 2x plus 9 equals 25. So what do we do next from here?
Bring over the 9.
Okay, I'll bring over the 9 so that I now have next that 2x will be equal to 25 minus 9, right?
16.
Okay, which is 16. Hmm. You've already done the calculation in your head, have you?
Yes.
Good. That's good. 16. So we have 2x equals 16. And then we'll do our usual divide both sides by 2 to get what x is, right?
Yes, sir.
So we now know that x will be nothing but 8. So remember the question said, now this is where some people will end their working. They will forget that the original question told them to do what? Find the two numbers. It didn't say find one of them. By finding x, we have found one of the numbers. How do I know? If you go back to the, where you were interpreting it, we interpreted one of them to be x and the second one to be what? X plus 9. So we have just simply found one of them. So if one of them is 8. Okay. Sorry, that 8 is not looking like 8. Let me try and make it look like 8. Okay. So one of them is 8, and the second one will be what? 8 plus 9, right?
Yes, sir.
So 8 plus 9, which is 17. So can you see how, um, you know, if you ask me, I think if you are able to, now, this is just my own opinion, you might not fully agree, but if you can interpret the question correctly, you have solved the question more than 50%. Okay, that's what that's my opinion. Just correctly interpreting the question, and I believe that in marking schemes they give marks especially for being able to even come up with the equation Then of course following through with the right steps, of course would and then getting to the final answer will get you the rest of your marks. So what I usually tell people is don't don't dash anybody or give don't leave any marks for on the table. Take everything, you know, as much as you can. Take everything. Yes, the truth is that in some exams are designed not to be finished. You know, they just want to know how fast you can really be and how many you can do in the time given. But if you take advantage of a situation where there's a kind examiner and the person can give you extra time, man, forget it. When other people are still struggling with extra time, you would have finished and gone through your work. So you're double sure of what you put down there. So yeah, it's always good to have those kind of things at the back of our mind. Okay. So all right, so like I usually say, don't worry, I'll send you this file. I'll send you the updated file after our class so that you have it and you don't need to bother with screenshot. Okay, so let's go to number two. You understood number one very well, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let's go to number two. So number two says the difference between two numbers. I think they meant to say between two numbers because it's letting not look like number two is referring to number one. There's no relationship between them, please. Okay, or maybe should I just erase it? Let me take it out so it doesn't look like, you know, um, the difference between it should not look like there's a space there. Okay, so yeah, so the difference between two numbers is 48. The question is this. The ratio of the two numbers is 7:3. What are the two numbers? So let's throw it open to you. What do you think? How do you think we'll go about this?
Mm, the difference between two numbers. So,
Yeah,
there is
don't worry, no, I'm not trying to rearrange it. That space will not be too much.
7x
Yeah. Okay,
minus,
7x.
yeah, minus 3x.
Okay, 7x minus 3x. Now let me ask you, why did you say 7x? Okay,
Bring out the question. Yeah, because the question said the ratio of the two numbers.
exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much. And now it was very, very essential that you interpreted it as 7 times something and then versus 3 times that same something. Because ratios, for them to come to their lowest, what they call that thing. Um, I forgot. Well, you understand what I'm trying to say. That's to the lowest possible
Yes.
term, that simplest form. You have to
Yes.
divide by the same numbers continually, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So for 7:3, right? You have to, it must have been divided continuously by the same number that divided the other one. So that if we want to now find the numbers, we just have to multiply them by a factor like x. Okay, so of course we could have chosen any other letter, but yeah, we just decided to go with trusted X. Not that others are not trusted, but I think X was the first number that the first letter that most of us really got to see, and somebody was like, "Why are they always asking for X?" In algebra. But yeah, so let's see. Yeah. So let me go ahead with your interpretation. So you said 7x minus 3x. Yeah. So what next? 7x minus 3x equals what? Do you want to take a look at the question again?
So 7x minus 3x equals to 48. And that's for
Exactly. If yes,
4x
okay.
equals to 40.
Yes, correct. 4x equals 48. Okay. So um so that means x will divide both sides by 4, which will be what?
12.
12. Okay. Now we have found x. Does that mean we have found the two numbers?
No.
No. So um what do we do next?
Mm-hmm. So we just
Okay, so we already looked at the
multiply.
two numbers. Yes, okay, go ahead.
Should we
We'll
multiply the
multiply what?
two numbers by 12?
Yeah, correct. We will do just that. We will multiply the two numbers by 12 so that 7 times 12 will give me what?
That's 84.
7 times 12 will give me 84. Okay. Um, and then 3 times 12 will give me what?
86.
36. Correct. So that's it. That's it for that question. So the two numbers are 84 and 36. So that we can now go straight to the next number. Okay. So it's good. I like the fact that your first interpretation of this one was, accurate, straight, right? You just went straight to the um 7x and 3x so that you'll be able to see it in that manner. Okay, let's look at the next one here. This one has to do with shape. The length of a rectangle is twice its breadth. If the perimeter is 72 meters, that should be 72 meters, not meters. It says find the length and the breadth of the rectangle. So how we gonna solve that? Length and breadth.
Can I
That's
see the
number three.
question?
Okay, you want to see the question again?
Yes.
Okay, I'll scroll back up. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Number three. Okay.
Mm, is he is he finding the formula first or just go straight to calculations?
Um. Okay. No. Let's interpret it first. Let's interpret it. Then the calculation, the formula will now come next. Then the
Mm.
calculation will follow.
So that would be 2
Mhm. Yeah.
times length
Okay. So
times breadth.
should we? Let's find. Let's establish the parameters that we have. We have length to be L, right?
Yes.
Our length is L. Um, okay, so because of to avoid confusion, I'll say let me just write out length in full so that um, um so length is L equals L. Okay, I'll use the capital letter so that it does not look like I. Then breadth will be equal to what?
B.
Notice they said the breadth is
Oh,
the length is what? Two times the
two
breadth, right?
times. That's 2x.
Okay, so okay. So you know what? Let me go with your first summation. B.
B.
B. Let's
Yeah.
use B for breadth. Okay. Now let's go back to the question. The question says the length of a rectangle is twice its breadth. So can we interpret that before we move further? The length of a rectangle is twice its breadth. So that means this L that we're seeing here is equal to what in terms of B?
2 or
Thank you.
2x.
Two times. Let's leave X alone. Let's use
Okay.
the ones that are up with. So that's two times B. Okay. So are you good with this?
Yes.
Now let's move on. Now, the next thing they now told us is what? If the perimeter. Now you see, when they start with questions about length and breadth and all these things, dimensions of shape, you now have your choice of formula will depend on what comes next. Now, in this case, the said perimeter, if the perimeter is 72 meters, okay, they now said find the length and the breadth of the rectangle. So, in this case, we're going to be going for what formula?
Mm,
What formula will we be going for? Perimeter formula, right?
yes.
Do you remember the perimeter formula?
Is it 2 times length times breadth?
Uh, 2 into bracket length plus breadth.
Right.
Yes, yes. But length times breadth is area. So yes, you're correct. So I usually advise that you write the formula starting from the variable, the one that you're talking about, so that we know everything from outside, the left hand side of the equality sign and the right hand side of the equality sign. So that's going to be 2 into bracket what? L plus what? Plus
B.
B. Okay, so don't worry, you will see how everything is going to play out. I know, I don't know if a question is coming up in your mind that we have one equation, but we're having two unknowns. How do we handle that? But you will see how everything is going to play out now. Very soon. Okay, so that is how the formula looks. So let's now plug in things. So the length is equal to 2b. That means anywhere I see L, I am free to replace it with 2b. Okay, you agree with that, right?
Yes.
And that is by consequence of what the question told me. So I'm just going to do exactly that. So again, I'll write my P equals, don't worry, I know that P has a value. Okay, maybe I should even put in the value. Yeah, I should put in the value. Let's put in the value because they told us the perimeter is 72 meters. So let's go ahead and put 72 right there. Since we're substituting for other things, 72 is equal to 2 into anywhere you see L, you're going to put what? 2B. Now don't forget that B is there, so you go ahead and write it. Don't know why that my B doesn't look quite right. So let's write it again. I think it's the difficulty of writing with a mouse pad. Okay, all right. So can you see how the equation now looks? It's fully in terms of what? B. Did you notice that?
Yes, sir.
Makes it easier for us. So what do I do next? Can you tell me?
Mm. You multiply the bracket.
Okay, that's one way. You can multiply 2
Wait,
by everything inside,
you
right?
add the bracket first and then you multiply them by two.
Excellent. That way. That's another way. So I think I'll go with that second one that you said. I'll add what is inside the bracket and then multiply by the 2 outside so that what is inside the bracket is going to give me 3b, isn't it?
Yes.
So 2 times 3b will give me 6b.
Yeah.
You agree with that, right?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
good. Then, of course, we're looking for, I'm sure with this equation we can find b by dividing both sides by 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And 672 divided by 6 will give you what?
12.
Well, correct. Will give you 12. So we have found our breadth to be what? 12. Now that we know what breadth is, don't you think we can now find what length is? Because they told us that length is 2 times what? The breadth. And so, of course, now there's another thing I need to emphasize. Units. When you are working, always be conscious of units. Now, the question told me that perimeter is 72 meters. So naturally, the unit of length and breadth will also be the same as the unit of perimeter, which is what? Meters. Okay. So don't forget your unit because some examiners or the people who mark your script, they may be very, very not so forgiving when you forget your unit. I know that I had a teacher then that would tell you, is it 12 naira or 12 biscuit or 12 what? Meanwhile, you will say, but he should know that it's meters now. At that point, um, he will claim ignorance, or, he doesn't know what you're talking about. So you have to, be specific with the unit. So, um, now we know the breadth, right? So L will now be what? 2 times B, which is 2 times 12, which is what?
Mm,
2 times 12. 2 times 12 will give us what?
2 times 7 is 14.
Hmm? 2
What did you
times,
say?
so not 2
2 times
times
what?
12.
That's
12
2 times 12 is 24.
is 4. Okay, so there you go. So our length is equal to 24, while the breadth is equal to 12. So that's it. Okay, so you understood every step there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's quickly go to number 4. Number 4 says Aaron is 5 years older than Ron. 4 years later, that's in the future, of course. Ron will be twice as old as Aaron. And the question now says, find their present ages. Okay, so let me ask you, what's your approach for this kind of question? How would you approach it?
That's 5 minus x or
So why did you say 5 minus x? Now let me, I know you don't have a
or
sibling,
5
but
minus r.
let's pretend you have a sibling, eh?
Yeah.
How would you, a sibling that you are 5 years younger than, how would you relate your ages?
Mm.
You get, so yeah, would you say 5 minus your age, or your sibling's age minus 5? Which one would you do?
Sibling and my age minus 5.
Your now, okay, now it will be your age minus 5 if you are the one that's older, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
let's pretend.
Aaron is 5 years younger. So that'll be x minus 5.
Thank you. So you really like this X, so you know what we will do? We will try and get used to not
Uh,
seeing X for you. So I'm
okay.
going to change. I'll don't mind me. I just like to play with letters. Of course, there are some letters me I don't usually play with, like letters like O and S. Reason being that S somehow looks like 5, and I trust me, you can be working an equation, oh, and in your mind you're thinking you're writing S, and your eye will go and see it as 5, and from there your whole working will be wrong. So I don't usually, except if the thing really demands, because there are some questions in physics or in science that it's S that they use to represent distance and all those kind of funny um, things. So when I can, I usually avoid those letters O and S. Okay, but here we have two letters that are not really confusing. A for Aaron and R for Ron, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's go with those letters, shall we? Number 4. So let's do number 4 beside number 3. Don't worry, I'll use a line and separate them. So number 4 says Aaron. So I told you, remember in mathematics, it means equals to. It's represented as equals to. So Aaron is 5 years younger than Ron. So that means A is equal to R minus 5. Are you good with this interpretation?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Let's now go to the next one. 4 years later, that means in the future. Okay. If they wanted to say in the past, they would have said 4 years ago, right? 4 years
Yes.
ago would have been referring to the past. But when they say 4 years later, that sounds like in the future. And of course, what will happen 4 years later? We will not add 4 to each of their ages.
Yes, sir.
Good. So just follow my reasoning. No. So this is, let's say, the year that we found out that Aaron was 5 years younger than Ron. That's the first year. So 4 years later, 4 years later means that what? Please let me. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, don't worry. I'll just write it. I'll write it there. So 4 years. Don't worry. I'll not write in full. So we don't spend the whole day writing. Um, 4 years later, right? What happens 4 years later? 4 years in the future, right? A
Yes.
plus 4. Now, I'll go, don't worry, I'll go back to the question because the question said something that was very, very important. Aaron's age will be A plus 4, and Ron's age will be what?
Mm.
Ron's age will be R plus 4, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us go back to the question and see what happened there, what they now said. The question says 4 years later, Ron will be twice as old as Aaron. Okay, so now let's go back to this. Don't worry, you'll see what will come out now. Ron, so Ron's age 4 years later is R plus 4, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So let's write it like that, R plus 4. They say Ron will be, now, you remember that in the last class when I said that all the, I don't know how to call that thing in English now, but let's talk about participle, right? So, funny enough, you know that your understanding of English even makes you a better mathematician. As in, when I mean English like English, basic English. Oh. So, was, is, will be, all of them are in the same class. They are all referring to it in one way or the other. Is present, was is past, and will be is future. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
So R plus 4 will be, I'm representing will be as equals to R plus 4 will be twice as old as Aaron. Now please take note. Aaron 4 years from now is not A again, no. It's 2 into bracket what? A plus 4. Don't worry, we're going somewhere. We'll soon land. But let's get all the facts out. So, are you good up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Let's move on. Now, of course, we know what the next question will be. Find their present ages. So their present ages is indirectly we're finding A and we're finding R. Period. If we find A and we find R, we are good. Okay. Sometimes the question will say, what was their age? What's their age in 4 years time? You understand? So we'll find it's still the same thing. We'll find A and find R and add 4 to it. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Good. So let's go. So now our job is to find A and R. Now it looks to me that there are two ways. Do you know that the truth is that some of these questions are actually especially the ones that have two variables, like the one we just solved before, the length and breadth. Do you know that yeah, we would have had a scenario where it would have led to simultaneous equation with two equations. Like, look at this one now. I have two equations here. The first one is saying that A equals R minus 5. That's one equation. Oh. You look at it very well. That's an equation. I can write it in a way that A and R are on one side. The second equation is saying that um what R plus 4 equals 2 times A plus 4. Those are two different equations. And so this now gives me the possibility of treating it as what? A system of two simultaneous equations. And I think to be fair enough, yes, we can do that. So it will give us some practice on simultaneous equations again. Okay. And of course, guess what? I can now solve it. I can choose to solve it the way we've been solving it, elimination method, or I can solve it using substitution method. In fact, substitution method lends itself well to this. Let me show you what I mean. This is equation one, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's just write equation one there. We've established that it's simultaneous equation. And why is it simultaneous? Because two variables are involved, number one, and both of them are true at the same time for two separate equations. And this is equation two. Even though it looks like we need to work on it, but it doesn't matter. It's still equation two. Okay, so now let's use substitution method since that's the one that lends itself well. So I'm going to substitute for A. Okay, I'm going to substitute for A, substitute for A in equation two. Why? Because if you look at equation one looks like it is in terms of A. Now, let me say something here I've not really emphasized. since we started doing all these things. You know, when they say change of subject formula, have you heard that phrase before?
No, sir.
Okay. So first off, maybe I should explain that. Then we'll now go ahead. So look at it's a very simple concept. Mathematics, most of the things are they sound like big grammar, but when you see the meaning is simple. Nothing more than some basic stuff. You see this A equals R minus 5, where you have A on the left hand side. Now sometimes A can be on the right hand side, it doesn't matter. But important thing is that A is standing alone. A is on the left hand side and it's standing alone, and R minus 5 is on the right hand side. You can clearly say that that equation is in terms of R, but A is the subject of the formula. In other words, A is the main guy there that the other ones are being expressed in terms of. Now, if you, I want to connect it to what you guys are learning in class now about functions. When you have something like y equals function of x, right? You see that y is the dependent variable and x is the what? Independent variable. Okay, where anything that happens on the right hand side of your equation will give you the value for y. Okay, in
Okay,
that
sir.
case, what would you say is the subject of the formula? Y, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So just remember, anyone that is standing alone at that time is the subject of the formula. So A, for us to be able to substitute A in anything, A must be the subject of the formula in that equation. So what that means is we're going to anywhere you see A, you are free to put what? R minus 5. Did you get that? Hello, goodness. Did you get that?
Yes, I get that, sir.
Okay, all right. I didn't hear you back there. Okay, so let's now go. R plus 4 equals what?
Mm,
2 into bracket. Remember, anywhere you see A, what do you put? R minus 5. So I'll just put R minus 5 and then put my plus 4 there. Just follow, just naturally let the thing just blend into the picture like that. Okay. Now, can you tell me what you see here? What did you notice?
mm.
It looks like A has disappeared, right?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And that was the aim of it, to make A disappear. For the meantime, we'll find what R is and then go back and find what A is. Very, very simple. That's what makes solving simultaneous equations using substitution method very interesting. You solve for one variable first. After finding that variable, take it and go and plug into the other equation and then find the second variable. Okay, so let's hit the road. So I need to expand that bracket on the right hand side, isn't it? Anytime you say a bracket, always look for how to get rid of it. That, of course, in this kind of scenario. So what's it gonna be?
Uh, that'll be. We, are we going to multiply the
Yes,
two?
we will. Yes, the two will not take on everything. So that will be two what?
R
Yes. Uh-huh.
um minus 10
Minus 10.
and minus 8 and plus
Why?
sorry and plus 8.
Eight. Thank you. It would have been minus 8 if there was a minus on the 2, but there's no minus on the 2, so it's a plus 8. Okay, so of course, I'm sure you can see that we can do minus 8, minus 10 plus 8, isn't it?
Yes.
Or do you want us to just collect like terms? Let's just collect like terms. So let's move. R over to meet 2R, right?
Okay.
Then minus 10 and plus 8 will move over to meet 4. Okay,
Okay.
let's start. Okay, so can you see how it looks now? 2R minus what? R. Okay, and 2R minus R will give you what?
Uh,
R. Excellent. Which means that whatever is on the left hand side is the value of R. So 4 plus 10 is 14. 14 minus 8 is 6, right? Are you good with this?
yes, sir.
Now we found out what R is. Let's go and find what A is. Remember from equation 1, A is equal to R minus 5. So, therefore, A is equal to, which is equal to R minus, which is equal to R minus 5, will be equal to 6 minus 5, which is what? 1.
One.
Okay, so that's it. Oh. So A is equal to 1, R is equal to 6. So can you see how everything just came out
Yes,
neatly?
sir.
So you want to check if you are correct? You can look at it very well. 4 years from now, um, Ron will be 10 years old, right?
Yes, sir.
And Aaron will be 5 years old, isn't it?
Yes.
And can you see 10 is actually 2 times 5. So that shows you are right. Okay. Any questions on this one?
No. No question.
Okay. Okay. All right. So let's go to number 5. Number 5 says a number is what? Divided into two parts, such that one part is 10 more than the other. If the two parts, again, this one has ratio involved. If the two parts are in the ratio 5 is to 3, it now says find the number and the two parts. Okay. Okay, so how would you approach this one? Should we start by representing a letter?
Uh,
We should do the same way we did for that one, right?
yeah, with the
Um,
ratio.
5x,
Mm,
3x, right?
minus 3x. Yes.
Uh-huh. No, but this one didn't say difference. So wait, so let me see something here. It says one part is 10 more than the other. Okay, so let's just take the question one step at a time. A number is divided into two parts, such that one part is 10 more than the other. So okay, so I think I understand where you're coming with the minus, because even though they said divided, somehow there's a form of subtraction that is implied. Okay, so let's okay, okay. All right. Okay, so it says a number is divided into two parts such that one part is 10 more than the other. Okay, so if I say one part of the number is x, the second one will be what? 10 plus x, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Don't worry, we'll come to that ratio. Let's interpret the question from the start so we don't miss anything, any of the juicy details. Okay, so first that one part is 10 more than the other. The next sentence says if the two parts are in the ratio 5 is to 3. Okay, so now you see that 5 is to 3, right? Don't worry, you see what we're going to do with it. What does ratio mean? Ratio is an implied form of division, right? Something is to something or something over something, right? Goodness, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Did you hear what I said back there? That ratio is a kind of implied division.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. Of course. Now let me ask you, if we were to do ratio, if we were to put instead of that comma that I put there, eh, I put ratio sign. And what is ratio sign? The colon, right? This and this. Which one will be 5 and which one will be 3?
Mm, like,
Think of which
mm,
one will be 5, which one will be 3?
the x will be 5.
Are you sure about that?
Wait, is it starting from the 10?
I want you to think about it carefully.
Mm, the 10.
One of them, these are two numbers, right? One of them has to be, represented by the 5 and the other one represented by the 3. Which one do you think should have the 5 and which one do you think should have the 3?
Mm, 10 should have the 5.
10 plus x should have the 5, right?
Yes.
So, why I asked you that question? Because it may look as if I wrote it in a way different from how the question is, but it is because of how I wrote it here. That's the reason why it looks like I'm switching. Okay, so the smaller one would match with 3. The bigger one will match with what?
Who is 5?
5. Okay. So this is just for reasoning sake. Now, I was saying that ratio is implied division, right? So that means that um 10, look at what I'm going to do now. 10 plus x. Don't worry, after this question, we'll take a break so you can stretch a bit before we do the remaining one. 10 plus x over x is equal to what? 5 over 3. Can you see? Do you understand how I came by this?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Still the ratio thingy, interpreting ratios for what they are. So when you have this kind of scenario, don't just waste any time at all. Just cross multiply. That's your best bet. Cross multiply and you're good. So nothing to, start bothering yourself over. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just cross multiply, save myself all the stress as much as possible. And there we go. So By cross multiply, I'll start with 3 into bracket 10 plus x. Um, sorry, this my plus must come out well, whether I like it or not. Okay, and all this is equal to what? 5 times x, right?
Yes, sir.
I think cross multiply has saved us from a lot of wahala in many scenarios, especially something like this. Okay, so are you ready? We'll, we'll take 3 into that bracket. So what will happen on the left hand side?
That will be 30 plus 3x.
Yeah, correct. 30 plus 3x equals 5x. Okay, 30 plus 3x equals 5x. All right. And then what will we now do next?
And then we bring over the 5.
Bring over the
No, wait.
5,
Sorry. Bring over the 3.
3x. Okay. Fine. So we'll bring over the 3x so that it will leave us with 5x minus 3x, which is 2x. Okay. And I'm sure you can tell what the x is already. Um, divide both sides by 2. So that will leave us with 30 over 2 equals what? 2x over 2. You know, whenever you get to this point, you know that the question is about to bid us bye bye and say I'm done. Okay, so that's going to be 2 in 30, which is what? 15.
15.
And now, so I think we've been able to find one of the numbers, right? X will be equal to 15. The second one will be what? 10 plus x, which is what?
Mm, 25.
25. Good. Because we said the other one exceeds the other by 10. 10 plus x, which is 10 plus 15, which will be equal to 25. Okay. Now, did you notice that the question asked us 3 things? We've only gotten 2. Look at the question. Number 5. The question said, find the number and the 2 parts. So we have just found the 2 parts, x and 10 plus x. You know, remember they said the number was divided into 2 parts. So now what do you think we will do to the 25 and 15?
Mm, 40.
Thank you very much. We'll add it up. Okay, so the original number, because I don't know how to represent it now. Let me just call it the original number. I think that should save us. Original number will be equal to 25 plus 15. Okay, so the thing I like about these questions is you never exhaust the creativity involved in coming up with these questions, because sometimes they will push you to the limit. They will push you to ask yourself questions. Okay, even the assumptions that you're having, you can question them. So yes, that's it. 40. Okay, so um, we'll just do 5 minutes so that you can stretch. I too will stretch, and then we'll come back here at 12:11. Is that okay with you?
Okay, sir.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let me see. Let me look for my charger. Quickly charge this guy up. Okay. All right. So let me share my screen. Then. Uh-huh. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's go from number six. So a certain Robert father is four times as old as Robert. Whenever you say four times, it's easy. Four times something. Okay. Um, After 5 years, that's same thing as saying in 5 years' time, the father will be three times as old as Robert. Okay. In 5 years' time, father will be three times as old as Robert. Uh, Question. Find their present ages. Again, the question is not interested in their ages in 5 years' time. It's interested in their ages now. So our variables will represent their ages when now. Okay. So Robert's father is four times as old as Robert. Now, you know what I'm going to do? Um okay, so let's see. Let's see how we'll solve this one. Oh, we still have space underneath. Okay. Yeah. Let's let's see. Maybe I should just use the next space there. Okay. So number six. All right. Okay. So father, so let me just say Robert. So you know what I'm going to do? I'll make it in such a way that even though there are two unknowns, right, we will have one unknown. I'll just make it in terms of just one. And this is his father. His father's own will be on the right hand side. Okay. So if I use R to represent Robert's age, current age, right? Present age, whatever they call it, whether it's current or present, anyone, it's still the same thing. R. Then the first thing is what? According to number six, it says Robert's father is four times as old as Robert. Is means now. So the present age is that the father is four times what? What would the father's age be? Four times what?
4 times X.
Okay. Your mind is still clinging to X, and we've moved on from X to R for this particular question. We're using R. So I'll use four times R. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. So the next thing the question now told us. So let me just put them beside it. This is now. All right. So in 4 years' time, um, this is 4 years. Okay. So this next one I'm about to write is 4 years uh, from now. Okay. So what will happen in 4 years' time? I'll have R plus 4, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now what is going to happen? Robert's age is R plus 4, but they told us that the father is, oh my goodness, it's not even 4, it's 5. I think I've taken wrong information from the question. After 5 years, the father will be 3 times as old as Robert. So let me go back and fix it. It's not 4, it's 5. So in 5 years' time, so let me just say 5 years later. I think that's better, you know, because when they say after 5 years, 5 years later is the same thing, right? So, but then let's not forget that this 4 is 25. So that's going to be R plus 5. They said after 5 years, the father is 3 times as old as Robert. That means the father's age is no more 4R, but it's now what? 3 times what? Can you help me
For
complete it?
for
No. 3 times what?
X R plus 5.
Yeah. 3 times R plus what? 5. Okay. So, question now is that we should find their present ages. So don't worry, we'll come to that. So can you see I've expressed the same question in terms of only one variable. So at the end of the day, when I find R Robert's age, all I need to do is to multiply it by 4, isn't it? And I'll get the father's age, with the father's present age, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's do that. So did they give us any other information? No, they didn't. Okay, so let's see how we can work within the parameters of what we have. Okay, so so this one doesn't give us anything like the sum of the ABC and all that. So um hmm, okay, so let me see some conclusions we can draw. Now, do you equally agree with me that the father's age, apart from this, what the question told us, 3 times Robert's age in 5 years' time, right? 5 years later, the father's age in 5 years' time. So I'm going to say also, father, father in 5 years' time, father will be. Now, do you know what I'm thinking? What I'm going to do now? I want to express the father's age from the perspective of that 4R. In 5 years' time, if we add 5 to the father's age, it will become 4R plus 5. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
That's why I said also. So the question has told me their own, oh, that in 5 years' time, that the father is 3 times older than Robert. But we too, we've made our own deduction. And see, take note of this. So it's our own deduction. The question did not tell us this. Deduction is usually a decision you come to when after making some judgment. So what judgment did we make? The father currently in this present year is 4 times Robert's age. In 5 years' time, his age will be 5 years plus whatever he was now, isn't it? So that's how we make our own deduction. So we're going to combine our own deduction with the question. How are we going to do that? If it's the same man that we're talking about, then that means his age in 5 years' time must be the same. Whether it is from the perspective of the question, which is what? 3 into bracket r plus 5, or from the perspective of our deduction, which is what? 4r plus 5. Now, do you know why I had to go like this? If we don't do like this, can you see that we don't have any equation at all anywhere? Look at it very well. If we don't go this route, through this route, we don't have any equation. Take a look at it carefully. You know, normally some questions will tell us the sum of their ages is this or something like that. This one doesn't tell us anything like that. So we have to do it this way. If not, we will be stuck without an equation. So take a careful look at it. Does it make sense?
Mm. Uh, So I was thinking, do we have to multiply through with the brackets?
Yes, we will. We will. We have to, because if we don't do that, we'll run into problems. So we have to do that. So let's do that. So that will now be 3r plus 15. Okay, 3r plus 15, and that will now be equal to what? 4r plus 5. Okay, so you can collect like terms. If we collect like terms, what will we have? What should move where? So I'll leave that to you. What should we do?
You will move the 3 out to the 4.
Excellent. We'll move the 3r to the 4r, and then move 5 to where? To 15, right?
Yes, sir.
So we move 3r to meet 4r. We're going to be having 4r minus 3r, and that will give me r as I'm already seeing it. And then on the left hand side, I'll have 15. 15 already has a plus in front of it, so it doesn't have a problem. The 5 is the guy that has to switch its sign to become minus 5, which will be 15 minus 5, which is what? 10. So that means Robert is 10 years old. Can you see that? And since
Yes,
Robert
sir.
is 10 years old, his father will be what? 4 times 10, which is what? 40.
Okay.
Therefore, father equals, it is at times like this, you start thinking of all the synonyms of the word father that can be shorter. I was just thinking about one now. Daddy. Does daddy look shorter? Daddy is only shorter than father by one word. Okay. By one letter, sorry. 10 times 4. Okay. Which is 40. So the father will be 40 years old. 40 years old. Okay. So, all right. So, any questions on this?
No, sir.
Now, if in case I know you want to develop confidence and you are pretty much comfortable with how we are working, but let's try it out. 5 years later, 5 years later, Robert will be 15 years old. 5 years later, the father will be 45 years old. And you can see that 45 is actually three times of 15, which means our answers are correct. Okay, so let me see. Well, we just did number six, right? I might leave maybe a few of them for you to do. Let's see how you will come up, how you'll be able to handle them. Or I'll look for other questions for you to solve. Whichever one happens before we get to 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock your time. Okay, all right. So I'm done with number six. Number seven. Number seven says, now listen to number seven carefully. Oh. One, two lines, but loaded with meaning. The sum of two consecutive multiples of 5 is 55. Sum of two consecutive multiples of 5 is 55. Question is this: find these multiples. Okay, so first off, what is the meaning of the word multiple? Then we'll now maybe, or should do you remember the meaning of the word consecutive?
Yeah, when you said
Okay, yes. So what does
if
consecutive?
something is like, it is say you should find consecutive of, like, for example, for even numbers,
Hmm.
there need to be 2, 4, 6.
Okay,
Like, I don't know how to explain, but I understand it.
okay. So consecutive numbers are numbers that come right after the next one after the other, right?
Yes, sir.
Coming in a particular order. Okay. So yes, um, your description is accurate. So in this case, right, they tell us that um, uh, two consecutive multiples of 5 is 55. Now, what is a multiple? Can you give me a description for what you understand a multiple to be?
Mm, like when you multiply something by
Mm-hmm.
the same number,
Okay. So in this case, can you give me an example of multiples of 5?
5, 10, 15, 20,
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So
30.
I like how you even gave the example. You did not just, give me 15 here, give me 35 there, give me 40 there, you actually put it in the order. So that tells me something, that consecutive multiples of 5, right, must have a difference of 5. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this time, again, we're not going to use X, we're going to use M. We're going to use M to solve this one. That's number 7. Okay, number 7. So if one of the multiples is M, the second one will be what? M plus what? M plus 5. Okay, now, what's the next conclusion? What's the next thing we should we should come to draw up in this question, in solving this question?
So that'll be
Do you
M.
want to see the question again?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Mhm. So what conclusion can we make from this two?
Equals to 55.
What equals to 65 exactly?
Oh, I was, is he 5
Why
plus,
5m? How did you come by 5m?
so that to multiply, but the two consecutive is multiple of 5.
Yes, no, see, there are already multiples of 5. So that was how we came by this conclusion that if one of them is the second multiple will be what? M plus 5. But the question now told us that the sum of those two consecutive multiples of 5 is 55. So we are simply putting a plus sign between two of them, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, remember what I said about if. If means equals to. So you just put your 55 there. Now, I don't know why you came by that 5m. But remember, a letter plus a number is not something that you should interpret as the number times that letter. They are two different things. Okay, 5m and m plus 5 are not equal. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, so let's solve this now. You can see the equation is very simple. M plus m plus 5 equals 55. So what should that lead us to?
So that would be 2M
2m, correct. That'll be 2m, yeah,
plus 5 equals to 55. And then we bring the 5 to the 55.
exactly, equals to 55. Okay, and so we'll bring the 5 over to come and meet the 55. So that we have that 2m, we're left with 2m equals 55 minus 5, which is 50. See why I don't like uh, my 5 is it almost wants to look like that. 55 minus 5, which is 50. So that we have that 2m equals 50, and we can divide both sides by what?
By 2.
2, correct. Okay, and dividing both sides by 2 will give me
25.
2 into 50, which is 25. So, here we go. M equals 25. Okay. So of course they asked us for the two multiples, right? So that means uh, uh, the one of them is 25, and the next one will be what?
Mm. The next one will be 30.
Exactly. The next one will be 30. And if you check it well, you see that 25 plus 30 is what? 55.
55.
Okay. Any questions on this? Was there any part that you didn't understand? or that was a bit confusing?
Mm,
Any part?
not really, no.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the next one, which is number 8. All right. So look at number 8. Number 8 says the difference in the measures of two complementary angles is what? 12 degrees. Find the measure of the angles. Now, um, difference in the measures of two complementary angles is 12 degrees. Okay, so this question is so complementary angles, right? So have you come across this term complementary angles before?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it is.
Uh,
Complimentary? No, I don't think so.
okay, okay. So complementary angles, right? Angles that we know. So in when it comes to angles, we know angles like angles that add up to give you um 90 and angles that add up to give you 180. So, but we need to understand this question properly because it now looks like they're saying something different. Okay. Um, um, we need to understand it properly. A measure. Okay. Measure. um, measure. Okay. Okay. So, um, our understanding of this thing will be okay. All right. So let's if we understand complementary angles for what they are, right? Two angles, one of them is okay. So let's mirror that the under our understanding of that very well. The difference in the measures of two complementary angles is 12 degrees. Find the measure of the angle. Okay, so let's look at it from this direction. Remember, complementary angles that does not look like it at all. Okay, that is better. Not perfect, but better. Okay, so complementary angles, right? If one of them is x, the second one will be what?
Mm, uh,
90
wait,
minus x, right?
yes.
Okay. So examples of complementary angles, you have um, um, example of complementary angles is what? 60 and 30. Do you get it now?
Yes, sir.
So 60 plus 30 equals 90. Now take note, their sum is always 90, but their difference may not be 90. I think their difference can be anything. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So once we understand it that way, we can flow. So um x and 90 minus x are our two angles. They now told us that their difference is 12. So look at what we're going to do. We're going to say, of course, 90 minus x. Let's if we assume that 90 minus x is the bigger one, or should we assume the other way? Anyway, so 90 minus x is one of them, minus what? X, right?
Yes, sir.
Equals what? 12. That's according to the question. Are you good with this up to this point?
Yes, sir.
If you remove the bracket, what is 90 minus x minus x? And minus x will give you what?
That would be 0. Plus, wait.
Look at it carefully. I didn't say minus x times minus x or minus
Okay.
x x. Minus x minus x.
That's minus. Mm, okay. That's 0.
I don't agree. So this is when it would have been 0. Had they been here were plus, then we would have had 0. Do you get?
But okay, minus
Um,
2x.
thank you very much. It's minus 2x. Correct. So 90 minus 2x equals 12. And what are we going to do next? So what decisions will you make at this point?
So, should we bring the 12 over?
Okay, we'll bring the 12 over and move the 2x to the other side, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll do those then. So 90 minus 12 equals 2x. All right. So 90 minus 12 is what? 10 minus 2 is 8. And 8 minus 1 is 7. And 78 equals 2x. So we're going to do what? We'll divide both sides by 2, right? To get um divide both sides by 2. If you divide 78 by 2, what do we come up with?
Uh, that's 39.
39, correct. That's 39. So um we have it that therefore, so let me just do this. Therefore, x will be equal to 39 degrees, and then The complementary angle of x, uh, 90 minus 39 is what?
What? 1990. That would be 51.
51. 1 degree. Okay, so that's it. So are we good with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So maybe we will just have enough time to do. Okay, let's do. Never can tell. Oh, there are 3 months, not just two. Okay, no problem. Let's see. The cost of 2 tables and 3 chairs. Notice that this. Notice how the question starts. The cost of 2 tables and 3 chairs. The total cost of these 5 furniture is uh, $705. If the table costs $40 more than the chair, that means each table. I think this question, some questions they will say each table. So that's what this one is implying. If the table costs $40 more than the chair, the question is find the cost of the table and the chair. Okay, so now this question. Uh, I don't want to say it's a bit ambiguous, but this is what I'm thinking. Are they asking us for the cost of the table plus the cost of the chair, or they're asking us for the cost of the table and the cost of the chair separately? What do you think?
Mm.
What do you think?
Is it separately?
It's separately, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I'm also thinking that if they wanted it to combine, they would have said find the total cost of the table, of one table and one chair, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll go with you. I think we're good to go. So let's solve it. So again, in trying to run away from x, we're going to use c for the cost of one of our tables and c for the cost of one of our chairs. So let's take note of what it says. Table costs $40 more than the chair. So let's have that at the back of our mind. Um, so I think we have exhausted this guy up to the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'll just solve number 9 directly below. Or should I solve it here? Let me solve it here. It's not too fast. Okay, number 9. Okay, so number 9, 2 tables, 3 chairs. Don't worry, we'll come to that 705 in a bit. So if the cost of table is C, and they told us that, now let's look at the next thing it says. It says if the table costs $40 more than the.
Sir,
Do
I
we?
can hear you, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now? My
Yes, sir.
internet, sorry. You can hear me now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I said, they said that the table costs $40 more than the chair. So what can we interpret it as in terms of T and C?
So T plus 40.
T plus 40.
Yeah.
You want to review your answer. The table costs $40 more than the chair.
Mm.
So Are you sure it's C plus 40? So now let us look at it
C
in the natural sense. If I say something costs $5 more than another thing, something and that something is maybe um $8. Okay, it
mm,
costs $5 more than another thing. Do you agree with me that we're not adding the five to the eight? We're adding the five to the other thing that is $5 more than.
okay.
Uh-huh. So once you look at it that way, then we can say that C is equal to what?
Mm, equals to 40
Yes. Complete it. 40 what?
minus
More than
plus 5.
uh plus C, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So, because it said the table costs $40 more than the chair. So this is how it will be. 40 more than is 40 plus. Okay, the chair's own. Now we have gotten this picture, right? Let's see. Is there any other information we can pick from the question? The question said the cost of two tables. See, you see how interestingly, we don't even start with the first sentence in the question. We started with the second sentence. Now we're moving up to the first. The first sentence says the cost of two tables and three chairs is what? 705. Oh yeah, let's interpret that. Two tables, three chairs. Two tables, three chairs. Two tables, three chairs. Two tables, three chairs is 705. Can you see we have gotten ourselves an equation here?
Yes, sir.
Actually, two equations, which I can solve as what? Simultaneous equations or what? What other method can I use? Substitution, elimination, right? I can use elimination, I can use substitution. But which one would you like us to use?
Substitution.
Substitution. Good. Okay, so let's get a hang of substitution too and see how it can favor us. So based on equation one, so my substitution means anywhere I see t, that's the subject of my formula there. Anywhere I see t in equation two, I'm going to put what? 40 plus t.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Yeah. And now, do you know, that's even the beauty of equals to. Equals to is saying that, as far as the problem is concerned, you are free to represent anything on the left hand side by what is on the right hand side, or vice versa. Do you know? There are some scenarios where if I see a question and it seems now don't just do this, so it has to be sensible if you're going to do it. And it seems perfect for me to do what? Anywhere I see 40 plus C, I should replace it with what? C. I will do it gladly. Why? Because there's an equals to between them. You know, equals to simply means what? Equivalent. The way they have equal weight mathematically, as per that question. No? So, but right now, it favors us to do what? Replace C with what? 40 plus C. So, we're going to substitute, um, we're going to substitute for C. So this is how we usually write it. I'm not going to write substitute, of course, but I know substitute is quite a um, handful or mouthful. Substitute for for t in equation 2. This is how we usually write it when we want to write down our steps. Uh, Even though they told us that we should write down our steps all the time, but if you don't have time, you can see how me I do my own shorthand. I just write what at least I believe a fellow mathematician will be able to relate to. All right. Substitute for t in equation 2. So that means anywhere I see t, I'm just going to gladly put what? 40 plus what? T. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. And of course, my 3c will stay as it is. No need to substitute it because it's actually a game plan for us to find t. And then after we find the chairs, then we can now go and find the table, solve for the table. Okay? So, can you tell me what I'll do next? Excuse me.
You multiply the two.
Yes, I will definitely multiply the 2 by everything in that bracket. So 2 times 40 will give me 80. 2 times c will give me what?
2C.
2c. And I already have my plus 3 there waiting. I think it knows that something is in this thing for me. I just need to be patient. I'll wait till it comes. And it actually waited for our next step. So that means I'll have 80 plus 5c equals 705, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh, Maybe having something trying to play into our space, but that's fine. 80 plus 5c uh, equals 705. Okay, 705. Okay, so what are we going to do after this?
So we'll bring the 80 to the 705.
Correct. You are getting really good with making decisions at this point. So, what I just need you to do, I think, is improve your interpretation skills, which, like I said, is like more than 50% of the question. But I think when you come to this part of moving things around to get to your final answer, you have perfected it somehow. Okay, so 705 minus 80 will give you what?
625.
Uh-huh. 625. 625 looks familiar. It's a multiple of 5. So if you divide both sides by 5, we come up with what? 5 in 625 will give me 100 and something. Let's see what it will give me. 5 in 6 is 1. Remember 1. Put that 1 in front of 12. I know this is the old school method. 5 in 12 will give me 2. And I'll remember 2. I'll put that 2 in front of 5. And 5 in 25 equals 5. Okay. So, see, sometimes it's good to do that, do it the way I just did, though, you know, and not really depend too much on a calculator. But yeah, that's fine. Okay. So, can you see we've gotten C?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's find C. So, for us to get C, what are we going to do? We substitute in equation 1, isn't it? Where is
Yes,
equation
sir.
1? It tells me what C is. So that I'm just adding 40 to it. So um now we're going to be substituting. Um, I'm trying my best not to go under that space. So let me just do it. Substitute for C. So now we're substituting for C in equation one. Uh, yeah, there we go. All right. So substitute for C in equation one. Equation one says that C is equal to um 40 plus C. That's going to be 40 plus 125. And that will give me 165. All right. So that's it. If we want to be strict with our dollars, then that means each share costs $165, while each each table costs $165, while each share costs $125. So, did you get that? This?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, this was number nine that we did, I think. So, maybe I'll just do number 10 and number 11 for you. You think you can handle them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any questions, in fact, like I said, if you can, I don't know if your iPad will let you, even if it's to scribble with your hand. I don't know how you do it. Or you write on a piece of paper and you take a picture. I don't know. Anyhow, I'd love to see how you solve it. Um, so, it's okay. I just want to see the best way to go about this. Yeah. So, okay. So, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well done. You've tried today. We've done 2 hours. I hope you had breakfast before we started.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. Because it's very, very important. You know why I asked? I don't know if you can testify to this. It seems like your brain works harder than, I think you feel more, should I say, fatigue, or how do I want to say it now? You feel more um, exhausted when you do math or anything that's taxing mentally than when you work. Let's say you're just maybe doing some laundry or something. Do you agree with that? Or
Mhm. When it comes to math,
yes, I
I
think you
feel
feel like it's draining. It should I no, not so draining per se, but I think you feel like some effort. You feel like you applied more effort doing something with your mind. You know, almost as if you feel. I don't want to say you feel more tired or you feel. Yeah, I think I
yeah,
wanted
it depends.
to
Is
depend.
it depends if the math is a lot to like to know,
Oh,
everything will just feel scattered, but it's fine.
uh, okay, 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 okay. All right. So that's why breakfast is really important. Okay, so I'll send you this right after we are done, so that you can take a look at all we've done so far and see how it plays out. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me allow you go and spend the rest of your weekend well. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp.
Okay, sir.
Mm. Okay, so we'll see again. Next class will be on Tuesday. All right. Enjoy your weekend.
Okay, sir. You too, sir.